Waharikui.
Okay. Yes, it is. Okay, we're just starting here. We've got a little bit of a hiccup because our computers and things have been playing funny games with us. I am really, really excited to welcome Elizabeth Jenkins to the Whole Energy Body Balance podcast today. Elizabeth is a mentor and a teacher of mine and someone who has brought a lot of beautiful practices into my life that really make a big positive impact. So welcome to the Whole Energy Body Balance podcast, where we explore lots of things that bring greater healing, connection and harmony to pets, people and horses. And we aim to inspire you. We might challenge you a little bit here and there. But if you really want to grow and create positive changes and healing in your life and the beings that you care for, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Dr. Edward, the Healing Vet. And I'd like to welcome Elizabeth. Elizabeth, could you just introduce yourself and give us a quick little bio of what you do and who you are?
Sure. Aloha. Thank you so much, Edward. I'm delighted, grateful to be here and to be speaking to everyone who's with us here today. A warm greeting from my heart to yours. My name is Elizabeth Jenkins, and I'm it's always funny how you identify yourself, right?
Isn't it?
I am a mom of two boys. I'm an organic farmer. I live on the Big Island of Hawaii, and I wrote 3 books on the Inca nature wisdom tradition, which I've worked in for the last 38 years. And I practice this tradition in my daily life and in my world, and my world is all about this beautiful, fabulous tradition that tells us about how magnificently we are interrelated with nature. And that is definitely my number one teacher, all of the great beings of nature. And so I founded, when I wrote my first book for the Inca tradition people, the Quero Indians of Peru, the descendants of the Incas that are living today, the whole concept of sacred reciprocity is very important. So if you receive something, you have to give. And if you give something, you're going to receive. So I wrote this book and I created a fund to help the Quero people. And that's why I founded the Wiracocha Foundation in 1996. So that foundation was created not only to bring the teachings of the Quero people, the Inca nature wisdom tradition to the world, but also to bring material benefits back to the Quero people and sacred reciprocity.
So what sort of benefits have you enjoyed in your life and your consciousness and your evolution as a result of being exposed to and participating in and learning and living these practices?
Yeah. Well, I can really honestly say that 38 years ago, I was not a grounded person. I felt much more related to the cosmos, like I could fly away. There was nothing really tethering me to Earth, not much of anything. And I also didn't feel like I belonged where I lived. I didn't have a sense of being part of the landscape. I felt like, these different American cities where I lived, beautiful cities like San Francisco, and these are nice cities, but I didn't feel connected really in a way. I didn't feel at home until I went to Peru in 1988. And then I had this incredible experience of feeling, oh my God, my soul felt at home. And my whole worldview, my particular sensitivities or perceptions were not explained to me by Western culture, but the whole worldview in Peru and eventually the worldview of these masters that I began to work with completely aligned with how I perceive, how I experience the beauty of life and nature. Um, and I felt like, oh my God, this explains the world to me now. Now I feel like I can inhabit this framework. This makes sense to me. This is a
Uh-huh.
kind of organic spirituality that makes the world make sense. And also gives me tools for when I need to affect a change or uh, create harmony in a place of conflict or difficulty or a feeling of difficult or challenging situations. I have tools to remedy those. So, and just to live a happy life, really, honestly, feeling happiness and harmoniousness and health and well-being as a kind of daily experience. Yeah, that's what I've gotten from the Inca tradition.
Well, that's a lot of good things.
A
And,
lot.
I'm participating in the Paco School, which is a thing that Elizabeth has created and leads and facilitates in partnership with the Kero elder mystics. And we're only a few weeks in, and I got to tell you, it's already having a profoundly positive effect on my life in so many different ways. And it is like coming home.
Mm.
It's like coming home to a whole, not new reality, but a more kind of real reality in my experience. It's really, really beautiful.
Makes me so happy every time I hear someone say that joins our school or joins or does the practices or just participates in any level. I'm so
Yeah.
happy.
So just anyone who's interested in learning more and connecting with Elizabeth, by the way, probably the easiest way to find Elizabeth is just put in Elizabeth B. Jenkins into Google and you'll find Elizabeth's website and be able to contact her through there, just so you know. So at the heart of the Kero wisdom, as my limited beginner's mind understanding gets it at the moment, is this concept that everything is alive and conscious and living energies. I would love for you to talk a little bit about that so that you can share this kind of and I think, I really think that humans at a deeper level know this. I think they know it, even if they're lost and they've forgotten and they're injuring the earth in various ways. I think there's something deep inside us knows this.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. I think that the easiest way to explain the basic framework of the Incas in the language itself, everything you talk about, there are no things, there are no objects. Everything is a living being. If I say, hand me this glass, it's hand me the glass being, hand
Oh,
the bell being, right? My sister being, my brother being, my tree beings, the river being, the mountain being, everything that you refer to, there's no way to objectify or have a thing. So there's no objectified relationships. So there's kind of a
wow.
respect. Yeah. So in the language itself.
So that is, imagine growing up with a worldview where everything was respected and related to as a living being. I can't imagine what sort of consciousness and a human that would support.
Well, luckily we have the example of our Kero teachers. I'm a co-founder of our Global Paco School with 12 of the really probably most renowned Kero teachers that have, a lot of them, not all of them, but a majority of them have traveled around the world and taught in different countries, and
Yeah.
they're pretty well known, in the circle of people who know about shamanism or the Kero. People call it shamanism. It's not actually shamanism, but That's a word we use to talk about nature-based spiritual practice. So,
I think you'd say it's more mysticism, yeah?
yeah, the Quero Pacos are actually priests of nature. The word Paco means initiate in the
Uh-huh.
tradition. Yeah. So, um, so that worldview, is very different than our worldview, and it kind of takes some time to really begin to walk into it. And the closest way to relate it for people, from our culture that's very mentally focused is the focus in this culture is all from the heart. The heart is how you perceive, the heart is how you guide your life, the heart is how you direct your attention and your intention, and using the perceptive abilities of the heart. And one of my favorite quotes from our teachers is, "You have to let your heart explain it to your mind, because your mind doesn't have the capacity to understand that your heart has."
Just taking a short little break from the actual podcast itself. Thanks so much for listening. I just wanted to let you know that I have a modality, whole energy body balance, that I've created over 28 years of working with all kinds of animals with all kinds of problems. And if you want to learn how to get your beautiful hands on your pets to find and heal their silent pain, anxiety and trauma, or if you would like to wake up your intuitive perception and learn how to use energy healing to find and heal all kinds of problems and distresses and traumas in your pets' energy systems, then pop into wholeenergybodybalance.com. We've got home and practitioner programs so you can learn either to help your pets or you can get certified and build a beautiful business out playing with dogs and cats all day. It's a stack of fun. And now we'll head back to the podcast. That's a really interesting and profound thing to think about and feel into. So, perceiving with your heart, could you share a little bit about how you understand and how you perceive with your heart and how you can experience that?
Mm. Well, definitely it's a path of cultivating love, compassion, empathy, because that is how we energetically relate to the world. If you think about it in an animal context,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you can relate to this, that we relate to our animals through our emotions, right? And our animals respond to our emotions. If we're sad, they come over and hug us. And, if they're excited to see us, there's a lot of kind of emotional relating with animals, I think. Do you think so?
Look, I do think so. And, talking about this, perhaps our relationship with our animals can be a big doorway for us Westerners who are kind of stuck in our heads and thinking of everything as things when they're not actually things. They all need love and respect and connection just as much as our dogs and cats do. Perhaps our pets can be a window to this heart-based perception, communication, wisdom, worldview. Yeah.
I think so. Absolutely. And for the Quero Indians, like, animals are part of Mother Earth. They call her Pachamama. And Mother Earth is they constantly talk about the kindness of Mother Earth, how she's constantly giving to us. Like, think about everything that you have. Where did it come from? Probably Mother Earth in some way or another. Your house, your car, your food, your clothes, our glasses, our computers, right?
I've only got one thing that is not from Mother Earth. I have a little meteorite.
Meteorite.
One thing in my whole life.
One. So it's pretty profound. Uh, And, even the Q'ero talk about fruits as the kisses of Pachamama, the kisses for her children.
Oh, and the flowers as Pachamama's hands, I think, was another one you say, right?
Flower hands of Pachamama. Take the flower hands of Pachamama. They say these beautiful, evocative, poetic words. And we're lucky enough in our Paco school to have a translator who has the heart of a poet and has the capacity to translate this whole worldview, which is based on the beauty and majesty of nature and the intelligence of nature. In fact, the mountains, rivers, trees, beings are considered to be literally the shepherds of humanity. So you were asking about the heart. And the other thing that's really fascinating to me is the whole Inca energy system, which is all about how our human body is energetically designed to collaborate with the major forces of nature, like sun, earth, wind, water, stars, cosmos. And our heart is considered to be the eye or the gate or the doorway or literally the home in our body for Father Sun. So opening our heart eye to the golden nectars of the sun, right, that are blessing us, and receiving those nectars in the heart is part of this practice of spiritual cultivation. This is how we grow, just like a seed. We require the nectars being the living energy of the water. It's
Mm-hmm.
designed to feed into, in an esoteric sense, kind of the tail eye of the body. It's the base because life began in the water, right?
Well, it did, didn't it? I suppose when you think about the little tiny egg and the sperm, that first little boom of life is in the fluids of the body, and our bodies are about the same amount water as the whole planet, right?
Right. And we start out as a little fish and we have a tail as
Mm-hmm.
we embryo growing, right? So the Inca energy system begins with the water element in the body, and then the earth is in the belly. I think it's super interesting in contrast to the Hindu system, which puts the earth in the base of the body. The first energy center is earth. But for the Inca, it's water. I think it's older. Anyway.
I, I I very strongly agree with you that I think the Inca system comes from an older, deeper place than the Hindu chakra system, though from a little bit of reading about the chakra system, the seven chakra system that has taken over the whole kind of Western esoteric worldview and been very much adapted and changed by the Western worldview too, was just one of a whole lot of different chakra systems that we used for meditative cultivation practices. So it's kind of something that the Western mind has hooked onto and then turned into a whole thing that it wasn't in the beginning anyway, in my understanding.
Yeah, true that. So the simplicity of the Inca tradition is something that I love, and a lot of people relate to it. The earth, we connect to the earth through the belly eye, the sun through the heart, the moon, wind, and stars through the throat. And then we have two more physical eyes and a seventh eye. So this is a 7-eye system. And being like the eyes of the body, the fifth, sixth, and seventh eyes relate to the cosmos and receive the nectars and are cultivated by interacting with the cosmic nectars or energies, living energy.
And for all of you out there who are listening and maybe not have been exposed to spiritual practices and energies practices and more esoteric things, you might be able to relate this to a plant that has their roots in the water and in the soil, and the sun comes into their leaves and gives them energy. In the same kind of way, our human organism is fed by these different kinds of vibration and energy. Just trying to draw a little bridge from something really practical for people who might not be quite so comfortable or familiar with these other kinds of more esoteric practices.
Yeah. Well, I think it's really easy to talk about the living energy of the sun because you feel it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
warm, it gives you a suntan or a sunburn. You can experience the warmth of the sun um, all over your body. You can feel it as a delicious, you know,
Yeah,
bathing
absolutely.
in sunlight. And the other thing I think just fascinating to me is that the sun is a giant fusion reactor that creates helium, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it creates helium molecules, which are lighter than air. And we talk about in our English language feeling heavy hearted or light-hearted,
Yeah.
which is an experience of living energy in the body. So I think that is a really important uh, way to just, mark this experience that all human beings have. We talk about it in our language. And that's another, to me, really key jewel of the wisdom of the Incas is that they don't talk about living energy as positive and negative. They talk about it as heavy and light, or heavy and fine, like very
Mm-hmm.
refined or heavier. And that is not equated to good and bad in any way, because there are heavy things that we might really like. Like if
Like
you
gold.
think about the substance of gold, it's very heavy. Oh, but is it negative? Do you want it?
I do. I would like lots of it.
So heavy energy, just like gold, is useful if you know what you're doing with it, right? And it's kind of similar to maybe the Chinese tradition that talks about stagnant energy. We as human beings are just designed to be moving and flowing and having energy flowing through us, just like exchanging oxygen and carbon dioxide with Mother Nature is how we continue surviving for the next few minutes, ongoingly. This exchange of energy is what the whole tradition is all about. We make these exchanges, and when we make them more consciously, we experience a better level of health because we are literally eating and digesting heavier energies, releasing them, letting them flow out of the body, just like when you breathe in oxygen, you exhale carbon dioxide. You
Which is molecularly heavier than oxygen.
It's molecularly heavier. That's cool. I did not know that.
Well, one's O2 and the other one's CO2. So it's like,
Okay.
it's it's a bigger, heavier molecule. I just thought of that now.
That's really cool. But carbon dioxide is not negative. In fact, it feeds the plants and allows them
Mm.
allows us all to continue this reciprocal exchange. Unless one gets to be too much, it gets out of whack, it gets out of balance. So nature shows us perfectly how to keep this sacred reciprocity that keeps life and goodness and beneficial health going. Because the basic concept is uh, we have healing mechanisms in our bodies and in our
Mhm.
living energy fields, and we're designed to be well if we give ourselves the right inputs, right? The right food, the right air, the right energy, you know, exchanging, constantly seeking the finest energy like the Sami.
Yeah.
And the tradition has these tools for how you can really literally advance, how we can advance as a whole community, as a whole collective species to another level of existence. What they talk about, that human beings are right on the edge of uh, trans transforming from the third level of consciousness to the fourth level of consciousness, which we kind of wanted to talk about today, I think.
Yeah, I think we will dig into that. Now, for all of you out there, if you want to start, a really simple way to start bringing these practices into your life and learning how to do them is Elizabeth's book, The Fourth Level. So grab it. It's on Amazon. It's a fantastic book, and it's got clear, easy to use descriptions of these practices, so you can start creating change in your life in a really beautiful way by using that book. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about the difference between the third level and the fourth level, and in particular, how to spot third level practitioners, whether they be healers, teachers, spiritual teachers, shamans, or
Yes.
business people, or you know, because it's not just in the esoteric world that this third and fourth level kind of paradigms play out, and how to spot fourth level humans, because I had some personal experience of getting trapped up and entangled with a third level shamanic type person that caused me a lot of energetic harm, a
Mm.
lot of abuse and sorceric practices and stuff like that have taken me about 7 or 8 years to clear and clean out the after effects and impacts from that. So this is something that is incredibly important, and I'm going to be really fascinated to hear what you've got to say about how can we
Yeah.
pick out the right people that are actually going to lead us to something greater and not trap us in this third level
Yeah.
power over type dynamics.
Yes. Well, um, let's talk about the basis of the third level. None of this is bad. It's just a progression. So being at the third level is like being in third grade. You're not bad because you're in third grade. You just haven't learned enough or gained enough wisdom to move on to fourth grade yet, right?
Yeah.
The thing is that when you get stuck at third grade, that's not going to be good, right? Because we're not advancing. So the third level is characterized by one word: fear.
Uh-huh.
And this is really easy to see, especially when people get into working with, so-called shamanic practitioners who know about or are supposed to know about the invisible world and things we don't know about. So we give them a lot of power, right? We kind of, defer to those who they are knowledgeable. They know and I don't. So I'm going to defer to them. And this is not good, basically, because that's where some abuse can start. And the other characterization of the third level is the state of the victim, the state of
Uh-huh.
mind of, I am at the mercy of someone else. Yeah. And that's easy to feel. All humans feel that at some point. In
Yeah.
our lives, we experience this. So that is part of growing up. And the third level is considered to be spiritual adolescence. So I think that's a nice way to look at it. Think about adolescence can be very cruel, right? And adolescents have little cliques of people in group and out group. And this is all about identifying a spiritual teacher. If you feel smaller than them around them, if you feel somehow less than them, if you experience they're really big and you're really small, if you experience uh, cliques or they're teaching in a framework of fear, if you don't do this practice, all these bad things will happen to you. And you
Or,
need me to fix it.
or if you question them, they attack you.
Yes. And I think I started out as a psychotherapist. So looking at it from a psychological point of view, um, this is kind of really looking for people that have been victimized and have that had that experience in their lives, and kind of scanning for them, recognizing them, and then you know using that against people. It's like, for me, the worst sin of a psychotherapist is taking advantage of their patient, because you are
Yeah.
in a position of power and you're misusing that with someone. So the integrity of the person, look at their life. What are they doing in their life? Are they creating harmony wherever they go? Are they creating conflict?
Mm-hmm.
Are they do you feel at ease just sitting with that person? Is there a sense of comfort, like you would when if you sit with the Dalai Lama? You
Oh,
feel a
yeah.
sense of ease. But with the people who want power over you, there's a different dynamic that gets created. And it gets created by because even that person is functioning out of fear, right? I need to control you or have you follow my rules, or you can't question me because my world might fall apart if you do. I can't handle any questions or objections. So in our school, we have this built-in position, which I love. It's called the koyana. And that is the person who pokes the teacher and says, but wait a minute, because before you said this, and wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. And wait, did the student who keeps the teacher honest.
Oh, I like it.
And you have to have that person. That's like required to make sure that this is a really fourth level teaching that's being delivered, right? You've got to have somebody that has the job to poke the teacher.
I think too, and I'm not sure if you'll agree with me on this, but I think another hallmark of true fourth level people is that they are teaching people and empowering people and setting people free to teach their wisdom.
Yes. Hallelujah. Yes. Yeah. The whole purpose is to help people, to help all of us get to the fourth level, to help all of us be able to overcome our fears, which are, many, our fears and challenges, and to really rise together. This is another beautiful thing about this tradition, which I haven't found in any other tradition. I'm not saying it's not there, but I haven't personally discovered it yet. I'm still waiting for someone to bring me another tradition that has this ceremony called Karpai Aini, which is the exchange of personal power. So it's built into the tradition. So practitioners from different lineages or different traditions can exchange their power, and it lifts the whole community.
Okay. I know in the Tibetan book of Living and Dying, there are some descriptions of transmission from master to student and stuff like that, but I'm not sure if they have that kind of what you're talking about, which is a higher order of sharing empowerment to empower everything. Yeah.
Yes, to empower everyone to become equals, literally. And
Well,
that's
one thing I noticed was in the Paco school, which I'm participating in the first of the kapas, which is the irrigation or the empowerment or initiation in our language, that everyone, all the students and everyone, are all doing it together for the one
yes.
person. And I've gone, my God, this is amazing, and I'm getting all teary just talking about it, because there's no hierarchy. It's not these teachers empowering the students. It's everyone all doing the thing together in this amazing matrix of consciousness and love and connection.
Yes. Because every single human being has a different power, has a different excellence in their energy field, has a different capacity that they can supply to someone else. Yeah. And this really honors that. We don't have gurus. We don't have, you know, these if there is a guru, oh boy, they get shot down really fast. We don't have that because no one is perfect. No one can do everything right all the time. No one can even, I mean, speaking for myself, I cannot remain at the fourth level in every single act of my life.
Really?
And I'm so glad that I don't have to stand on any kind of pedestal and then fall a terrible fall, because that's not fun. And I'm, not holding myself up as some whatever. What a relief, right? We're all in this together. We're all working together to achieve something as a community. And I think that's another part of the beauty of this tradition. We are working with a collective field of energy. We're literally, and we're working in collaboration with these giant wise nature beings who are showing us the way, helping us. We have, another real beauty fundamental of the tradition is that we have 4 parents, not 2. That we have our human biological mom and dad, and we have 2 a nature mother, nature being mother, and a nature being father, our mother water and our father mountain. And this is really, really, they are like, they're like the functional parents that we always wanted because they're not human, they're wise, they're ancient, much older than we are. They just have a huge reservoir of wisdom, living energy, guidance to offer to us. And I think it's kind of what every kid always hoped your mom and dad would be, but we kind of fail as humans, and it's okay because then your kid can grow up and become their own adult and, not put you on a pedestal their whole life as a parent. But these nature beings are the shepherds of humanity. They give us the guidance. Our Kyoto teachers would say, Pachamama, the Apus, the mountains, and the Nyustas, all the beings of nature and the creative forces of nature, wanted this meeting. And that's why we're here. That's why you and I are talking today.
Well, that feels kind of nice.
I think it does.
It does. And I suppose, for everyone who's listening, I'd offer a heartfelt invitation to start stepping into this worldview, because it is profoundly transformative and deeply healing and joyful and wonderful.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So the 4th level is really about going beyond fear and really starting to exist or experience a state of love and feeling fed enough in yourself with the love that comes from your nature mom and dad. Our Kero teachers will say, don't think that we don't have bad days. If they have a bad day, they go home and they say, oh, my nature mom, you can't believe what happened to me today. Can you please help me with this challenge that I have in my life? And this really hurt me so bad and was so difficult for me. Can you please help me? And then they ask, right, with this beautiful invocation that you know about called the Waharikwi, this beautiful spoken poetic words of beauty that you gift to your nature mother. Help me, Mama, beautiful, beautiful, sacred mother, river, glorious keeper of so many fishes and life beings. Help me. And then they know that the help is coming.
What a beautiful thing in life to have two beings that are always there in a healthy, supportive, beautiful way, hey?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So that's another key. And, if we think about all the gifts that come to us from Mother Nature, all the gifts, all the beauty that she provides, we have this field of science called biomimicry, right? Where we literally try to imitate natural processes because they're so smart and they work, you know?
Yeah.
And so this is taking all of that kind of scientific ideas about nature and applying them spiritually, right?
So how does all this relate to kind of, maybe we can build a bridge to Western science in a way in terms of quantum physics? How does this relate to this
So
worldview?
yeah, so the Quero or the Inca tradition says that we inhabit a world called the Kausai Pacha, which means we exist in a world of living energy. This is exactly what quantum physics tells us. We inhabit a world of living energy. Everything that exists is made of living energy. I don't know if quantum physics tells us maybe it's starting to engage this conversation. I can't say that I'm educated enough to know if this is happening. I think it is in some venues that all of this living energy holds its own kind of consciousness. So
Yeah.
a river has its own energy field, literally, what we would call, from our Western point of view, the energy field, what the Incas called the bubble. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like the aura or however you want to describe it. We talk about it as an energy field. Um, and that you can communicate because humans have an energy field, dogs have an energy field, cats have an energy field, horses, and so does the river and the tree and the mountain. And that's the medium through which we communicate.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And, it's really well known in science that consciousness affects reality in terms of every experiment you have to control for what the experimenter believes is going to happen. So if there's not a clearer example of living energies affecting other living energies, I don't know what you're going to find, really.
But I don't know if those same scientists would ascribe consciousness to the trees or consciousness.
No, they probably wouldn't, because there's a huge blind spot in that. And, there's some really good evidence that shows that energy healing practices can definitely do way more than a placebo. But if you go and talk to what I call the orthodoxy of science about that, they get a big headache and have a tantrum and want to go home.
So I would say the Inca tradition is really walking as an embodied human, warm quantum science physicist. So warm science is a science that connects to its humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So simply, yeah.
So then we've talked a bit about third level and fourth level practitioners. How do you find fourth level people, in whether it be for a lawyer or a doctor or a teacher, a school, or for your kids, or spiritual shamanic type practitioners?
Mhm. I think you got to follow your heart, and you have to trust the feedback that you get. How do you feel about yourself around that person? That's a great
Okay.
question
That's fun.
to ask yourself. Yeah. How do I
How
feel
do
about myself around this person?
So
Do I
you would, with the fourth level person, you would feel more of yourself and more coherent, more grounded, more confident, more everything. Yeah.
I would hope so. You'd feel respected. You would feel
Yeah.
seen, heard. You would feel understood. You would feel, um, uh, granted your space in the world. You would feel all these feelings of comfort and ease, I think.
And I suppose it's really important to listen to if you get a little feeling that something's not right in the beginning, that's when you really want to listen to that little feeling, because not listening to those little feelings, I got to tell you, can lead to
And we are
really,
really taught in the Western world to override our intuition with our mind. We're
yeah.
really taught to override the sensory input we get in our body, literally, which is energy input, an energetic input that we're receiving, to ignore it and do what I'm supposed to do, regardless of. Yeah. So it's challenging to really, really listen properly and trust ourselves. Maybe that's the biggest thing. This is what our Paco teachers will tell us constantly. Trust yourself. I like to say, believe what you receive. If you're talking to a nature being and you think, oh, I just made that up. Oh, yeah, they said this, but I just made that up. That's just my imagination, right?
Yeah, I
Or
know. And
I don't feel good around this person, but that must be me, you know? Maybe it's not.
maybe it's not. And I suppose the other thing is, a lot of time people say, nothing's happening. But something is happening, but they're just looking at all the nothing and rather than the little something that's happening,
Yes.
Humans are funny like that.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is, like, every human being, like, we have different modes or capacities for learning. We also have different capacities of perception. And I experienced this for years, for the last 38 years, with students that I'm teaching the practices to. I will lead them through a whole practice and I'll say, okay, so tell me what happened. And they'll say, oh, nothing. And so I always stop and say, okay, tell me in detail, what did you experience? And I had one time a person say, well, I I felt all of this rumbling energy come up for the earth, and it shook my body back and forth, and it moved up into my heart and came out my ears, but I didn't see anything.
Oh God, yeah, the visual thing, the Western thing. You got to be clairvoyant. You got to be able to see visions, or it doesn't exist.
Yeah, right. So this kind of visual imperialism, right? That there's only one channel that's authentic for perception. And I think that's can be a stumbling block for people. The way you perceive living energy is your way, and it's good. The way you perceive the world is good. It's your way, and it's valid. Yeah? It doesn't have to be a different way. So just really validating the perceptual faculties that we already have.
So, what other modes might people experience in this intuitive, perceptive, energetic
Oh my
consciousness?
goodness. Some people hear messages from the mountain beings. Some people get a taste when they're
Mhm.
receiving living energy, a taste maybe of sweetness, or a smell, like the beautiful smell of roses suddenly appears in the room, or a song, or a visceral experience of energy, or maybe you see colors, or maybe you hear a song, or maybe your body feels like it needs to move in response. All
or
of these,
maybe you just know stuff
maybe
out of
you
nowhere.
know, you just know, but then you
Yeah.
discount it for some reason. I had
Well,
the most fun example of that to me was we were up on Mauna Kea, Mauna Huakea, the big mountain altar to the stars, it's called. This big
yeah.
island, tallest mountain. And we were with Papa Don Umberto, and he said, "Look, it's the Hatun Chaska." I'll say, "Call to the Hatun Chaska, receive the Hatun Chaska." It means the great star, the big star.
Yep.
And we all saw this big star. So we calling to it, and he said, "Receive it into your head and your heart and your hands, and now give it to your partner." Right? So we did this whole thing. And then we came back to my farm after that was over, and everybody's like, Don Umberto, what is the Hatun Chaska? And he just looked at us, astounded, and said, "But if you just called to the Hatun Chaska, if you just had it in your head, in your heart, in your head, if you just gave it to your partner,
Um,
how could you be asking me what it is?" Because it's your personal experience that counts.
yeah.
It's not an external source that knows the answer. Yeah.
Okay. What a beautiful conversation to enjoy together. We've covered a lot of ground. There are a couple of questions that we like to close each episode with. And, what do you think is humanity's biggest blind spot when it comes to our shared journey of evolution and healing and becoming well, truly well?
Nature. Everything is there for us if we can learn how to receive it. Every illness can be healed through nature. Every trouble we have, every disequilibrium, every disharmony, every illness, literally, every mental, emotional, physical, spiritual illness can be healed through Mother Nature. If not through her herbs and her plants and her foods when they're left in their natural state. Speaking as an organic farmer here now for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But literally, the more advanced, I don't know if we want to say advanced, but the more refined understanding that nature literally provides living energies that will heal us. So our teachers tell us that our itu apu, our pakarina, our nature parents, are literally sources of healing power for each one of us individually. Yeah. And then once we heal ourselves, we can heal others. So this path, or literally, we can become a conduit for the nature beings to come through us and perform the healing. So uh, it's a really wild point of balance to kind of hold between invoking them with great power and intention and being in this state of great humility in front of them to receive their living energy and transmit it to another person.
Yeah.
So it's being like really, really humbly empowered.
Which is a bit alien to the Western worldview and something we probably would take a little time to learn how to do, I'd imagine.
Right. So it takes some learning, but we can do it. I mean, we have fifth year students now that are doing amazing healings, and we have had miraculous healings. And the Kero will look at us when we say, "Oh my God, we did this practice that you taught us," and this person is recovered incredibly quickly and from something that the doctor said they couldn't recover from. And the Kero will just look at us and say, "Well, what did you expect?" That's that's the power of the nature beings. They can perform all kinds of miracles, right? The mistake is thinking that we're doing it, and we're not. We don't have that capacity, but they do. So
Well, I think that's one of the biggest pitfalls of healing work and energy healing work, and certainly one that I fell into in a very comprehensive way early on, is trying to do it, and giving all your energy away and ending up an empty, drained husk of of not very well, not very healthy. Yeah, and certainly the way that I've managed to learn how to do this is way more in alignment with what you're speaking about than what I was taught in the beginning, which was not very helpful, really. What I got taught in the beginning
yeah,
was dangerous in the long run.
yes. And so the well-being of the practitioner is necessary to be able
Yeah.
to affect the practice correctly. I mean, you can't be a Paco and be very unbalanced person. It's all about, and the Pacos will tell us this as they're training us. They say, first, use these practices for yourself when you feel very emotionally stable, when you feel very mentally, emotionally stable, then you can start, right? You're stabilized by the nature beings, literally. Yeah. So,
And
and
one
you feel like you belong in the place too, because you're,
yeah.
yeah.
So one final question. What is the change that you want to be and inspire others to be in this world?
Oh man. Well, I use the fourth level as my guidepost to constantly strive towards being the person that can bring harmony to a situation, can bring calm. Um, One thing that we always notice about our teachers, especially a couple of them, like Francisco, who's the current president and community leader of the Quero, is that when he comes in the room, it feels like a mountain has entered. You
Yep,
know,
I know what you
there
mean.
there is this this incredible calm, this patience, that's just perceptible, and that everything's going to be okay. That feeling. So
Beautiful.
I would like to bring my nature beings through to help other people uh, just have access. I mean, that's kind of my life mission right now, is to grant access to these teachings, the authentic teachings, which,
The authentic, yeah, and authentic teachings that have been insulated from outside cultural impacts in a way that I don't know that any other thread of Indigenous wisdom has been kept so pure anywhere on the planet. So it's an incredible gift to humanity. It truly is.
yes. And so I want to provide access to that gift. That's what I want to do.
Well, you are. You're doing a great job of it. I mean, look at what you've accomplished. It's astonishing.
Well, it took a long time. I mean,
It is.
it's been a long road.
Now, I think
But
you wanted to share.
it's organic, like
Yeah,
step by step.
I think you wanted to share a waharikwi. Could you tell us what that is?
Oh, yeah. So before, the Waharikwi simply means the invocation.
Mm-hmm.
And um, what our Pacos say that our nature beings want to receive from us is the beautiful love that we generate in our hearts if you look at a glorious landscape and this love or this beauty wells up in your heart and you want to give it back. Yeah, that's what the Waharikwi is. So, speaking beauty to nature and giving them the love that's in you through your heart, through your words, and through your breath. So, yeah, a lot of people say, well, can I just do that in my mind? Because we're all really embarrassed North Americans who don't want to be seen passionately speaking poetry to a mountain, perhaps. I don't know why that somebody might feel silly or uncomfortable doing that. But once you start to do it, boy, it just feels so good.
It does.
It feels good because we matter. How we give to nature, that matters. That makes a difference in the world. So, you want to end with a Waharikwi, Edward?
I would love to end this with a Waharikwi, and I would love all of you who are listening just to come into your bodies and to be really present with everything that you're experiencing in whatever way you're experiencing it, whatever sensory modality or direct cognition. I'd love to invite you to take a moment, all of you listening, to just bathe yourself in this experience.
Beautiful Mother Hudson River, Mother that heals me and sings me to sleep every night. Beautiful, flowing Mother Hudson. Come to me now, my Pakarina, my nature mother. Come, flow through me. Let me feel your joy and your happiness and all of your life forms flowing in you. Come, come, come and receive all this love I have in my heart for you, my Pakarina. Come, come, come. Itu Apu, Great Hill, Central Park, Manhattan, New York. Come, my Father Mountain. Come, shower your Sami on me. Bring your nectars and open my heart and mind to your wisdom, to your brilliant, super evolved wisdom of all of the years you have been watching and living a life, watching humanities rise and fall. Come, 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 beautiful Mother Ocean. Come and spread your nectar on all the people listening to this right now. Open their hearts. Let them feel your joy. Let them feel your super capacity for bringing life force. Come, Mother, Father, Wind. Come, blow through all our hearts. Open our minds and take away all obstacles that we don't need, that will keep us from our destinies. Come, come, Mother Rainbow, you who connect the lower world, the middle world, and the upper world. Come, come, come with your beautiful 7 colors, with your 7 yustas. Come, rainbow nectar. Come and shower everyone here listening. Come, 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 my beautiful, magnificent mountain beings. Come, sweet Apukuna, Mama Mauna Loa Mauna Hupuakea, Tutupele Konua Mea. Come, beautiful Mother Lava, fountaining now in Kilauea caldera. Come, come, show us how the land is made. Show us these fantastic pyroclastic powers that you have, and let us feel them in our hearts and our bellies. Come, come, beautiful Pachamama, healing island, Moku Okeave. Hilemai, Hilemai, Hilemai. Come, come and bring healing. Bring your healing to all the people to gather together with us and listening right now to this podcast. Bring that beauty and harmony and peace to all of us here. Open our hearts and minds to your wisdom. Speak to us in our dreams. Speak to us. Guide us. Light the path for us. Inti Taita, Father, Sun, Mother Moon, Mother Stars. Come, come, come and shower us with your living energy and guide us on our path. Let us be open to your wisdom, coming through our dreams, speaking to us on the wind, speaking to us through the animals that we meet and the people. Come, 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 watch over us, great shepherds of humanity. Come, teach us. We are your children. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all the gifts you give to us. Mahalo nui, urpichai son koryai.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. What a beautiful conversation we've shared. And everyone, I hope you've enjoyed this. It's been an incredible gift to have you here today. Thank you so much for your time and energy and wisdom, Elizabeth.
Thank you. And just to remind people that when we receive the teachings of our Kero brothers and sisters, we give back an enormous amount to their community, helping them. So we always keep this tiny with our sacred reciprocity.
Yeah, and your Wiracocha Foundation is a not-for-profit, so if anyone wants to donate to that who's listening, drop in. Also, if I think Elizabeth has a monthly open full moon.
Yep. Full moon tomorrow, and it's now up on my website. So if you go to the full moon Paco Ops, you'll see a link there that you can join.
And so this is open to anyone at all, anywhere in the world. And I did the last one, and it was so much beauty. It was almost indescribably wonderful. So come along and join in and bring your heart and soul into this process of helping clear and heal and awaken the whole of humanity and the planet. It's a really beautiful thing to do. Thank you so much. Goodbye to you all for now, and we'll see you back in the next episode. Just taking a short little break from the actual podcast itself. Thanks so much for listening. I just wanted to let you know that I have a modality, whole energy body balance that I've created over 28 years of working with all kinds of animals with all kinds of problems. And if you want to learn how to get your beautiful hands on your pets to find and heal their silent pain, anxiety and trauma, or if you would like to wake up your intuitive perception and learn how to use energy healing to find and heal all kinds of problems and distresses and traumas in your pet's energy systems, then pop into wholeenergybodybalance.com. We've got home and practitioner programs so you can learn either to help your pets or you can get certified and build a beautiful business out of playing with dogs and cats all day. It's a stack of fun. And now we'll head back to the podcast.